Good afternoon, SPANily. How are you? I hope you're feeling well today. In case you're new around here, let me just tell you that my name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel, I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and we'll just get going. So I hope you guys are all doing well today. It has been a crazy week or two. My kids have been so busy. I don't even know which end is up, which is awesome. But also, other stuff. Life gets in the way sometimes. So I'm so glad to be back with you today. And for those of you who voted for this time, thanks for doing that. I appreciate you. And for those of you who are here, thank you. So who do we have? We have Phoenix. And hello, Claudia Mills says, hello, Angie. Thanks for your info. Absolutely my pleasure. And thank you, Claudia. X-Dude, hey, how are you? Long time no see. What's going on with you? Fill us in. Mr. Gigi, hey, he says, hi, homegirl. Yes, we are in the same state, Mr. Gigi and I. And we have Suzanne Carrick, hello. And Amanda says, could we privately message? You can reach out to, there are a lot of different ways to get in touch with me, Amanda, if you're looking for private messaging. You can reach out to my page on Facebook, and that's probably the best way to get the information quickly. There is a page on Queen Being called Ways to Talk to Angie, but I'm still getting used to that. I can't remember the URL on it. Anyway, Elizabeth Elliott says, oh my gosh, I just found out he's marrying her and she's never even met my kids. My kid who does this? Well, clearly someone who doesn't care what your kid thinks. And I guess what his soon-to-be wife thinks either. And that's terrible. It's just a definite sign of a narcissist. So I think you might be on the right track there. But fill me in and let me know what your thoughts are about that. Do you think it's directly as a result that he doesn't care how anyone feels but himself, maybe? I'm just curious if your assessment is similar to mine. All right, and we have Narc Alert. Hey, how are you? Welcome back. Ron Nelson. Yeah, it has been a little while. And hey, welcome back, my friend. And we have Shelly. That's a hard one. Shelly Schneider. It's not hard. It's just one of those ones that makes you stumble if you're not careful. That's a cool name, Shelly. How are you? Welcome, welcome. And George Southern is here. Hello and welcome. He says, is it common for narcissists to reach out to your friends? Oh, yes. Especially if they think they can isolate you from your friends, or they want to try to smear campaign you, where they're starting rumors about you or causing trouble. Their goal would be to separate you from people that would support you. Does that make any sense to you, or is it something different happening for you? Sometimes in the beginning they'll do it in order to establish rapport, so that when they can, they will start to move in that direction. So I'm sorry, so that when they can or need to, they can always reach out to those people and then try to turn them against you. But even still in the relationship, sometimes they will reach out to your friends for the same reasons, to A, establish rapport, and B, to move you away from your friend, or to move your friend away from you, to put a wedge between you so they won't support you when you need it the most. Chelsea Flowers, hello, and she says, hi, I've just discovered your videos and I've been watching them for days. It's helping me very much. That is so good to hear that it's helpful to you, Chelsea. I totally understand that it's probably not under the best circumstances, but I absolutely appreciate the fact that you're finding peace on some level here. And if there's anything specific that you want a video made about, just let me know in the chat here and I'll do it as soon as I can. All right. Or if you have questions I can answer today, let me know. Teresa Barrett says, I loved your quick video on the recent narc example. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was true. That was a true story. Yes, indeed. The dentist says, talk more about twin flames. Okay, I will do that. Do you want me to do that now or in the future, in a future video? Let me know. Kira, hello. She says hello. And Brenda Lee says, good afternoon. Hello, Brenda Lee and Kira. Welcome, welcome. And Deb Healy, hello. Ms. Jillian said she's not getting notifications. Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry, Jillian. I will try to see if there, I can't do anything about the YouTube notifications. Are you signed up on the text list? And if you are, did you not get the text today? Let me know. Oh, James is having a rough day. Tell me what's going on, James. The Ancient Lantern says, hello, hello, how are you? And Doreen B says, hi, Angie and Tribe. Hello, Ms. Doreen. How are you feeling today? Nicola Owen is here. She says, hi, Angie. My ex-narc invited a 23-year-old to his house on his profile pic, then unblocked me, sent me a pic of him trying to cut our engagement tattoo off. Wow. Excuse me. Excuse me. Nicola, he's obviously trying to mess with your head. He's trying to mess with your head. He is, he is doing something like that where he's putting up that profile pic and then unblocking you so you could see what he's doing. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to cut off our engagement tattoo because I'm so over you. That's what it's just an attempt at it's an attention-seeking device, and it's also a way to try to hurt you. Sounds like you've got one that's especially sadistic. If I were you, I would block him and move forward. Let me know your thoughts. Ugh. All right. We have Nails. Hello, Nails. And Crystal says, I look extra beautiful today. Well, thank you. I just feel like I had a piece of hair stuck in my lipstick a minute ago. I hope it's not too smeary now. Anyway, let's see here. Thank you, Crystal. And we have, Jillian says, James, she was sorry to read that. Absolutely. Heather Esquivel is here. I'm probably saying that wrong, but Heather, welcome. She says, Angie, I thank God for finding you in your videos. Thank you so much. I'm glad to hear that they're helpful for you, Heather, and please let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Nargis says, hello, Nargis. How are you, honey? She says, hello, Angie. I had a bad panic attack like the one I got when I was with my in-laws. I managed to dial my son's number, and they came and hugged me. Oh, I hope that really helped. She said, I guess a really bad trigger got me. Where did it go? Nargis. Hold on, let me find it. There she goes. Okay. She says, I guess a really bad trigger got me in that stage. Recognizing your triggers are important, but, and I think that maybe if you could try to figure out exactly what, triggered you to feel the way that you did, that would be really helpful as you go forward. Kind of journal it out, kind of figure out what you were doing at that moment and what it was that may have triggered you. But I just want to say something really important, and that is that you did have a plan in place. It sounds like you had a plan in place where you were able to get in touch with your sons and get some love and some support in that moment that you needed it. And I just think that's amazing. I think that's wonderful. And I want you to really pat yourself on the back for kind of putting that in place for yourself. And I want you to make sure that you thank your sons and feel gratitude for the fact that they were there for you to hug you in those moments. And I just want to express gratitude for you because I think it's amazing that you're coming and sharing that experience here with your fellow SPANily members who are potentially in the same boat. Maybe someone here today could use this advice. If you know you're going to have panic attacks, put a plan in place. If you have people that you can call, great. If you don't, do something else. Work on knowing what to do when you feel triggered, and then maybe you can reduce that anxiety attack from something huge to just a few minute long situation, or even a moment long. It could change your whole world, really. Okay. Let's see, Ms. Kira. Oh, Phoenix has hugs for James. Thank you. And Ms. Kira says, enjoyed your Q&A visit with on Trauma Recovery University with Athena. Thank you so much. I love me some Athena. She is awesome. I cannot wait for what we have coming up together. Lots of very exciting things. Okay, and Crystal says she's sorry, James. Ann Speaker says, Ann's in the house. Hey, Ann, how you doing? Welcome back. And we have Luna, who says, hi, Angie. Long time no. Had to phone him today. Still feels scary how he can act so normal like a person, but the beast's just around the corner. Yeah, that is absolutely legitimate. And that's, Luna, identifying those feelings is a big deal. So good for you for seeing what they are and kind of getting what you're dealing with. On the plus side, I hear you saying it still feels scary because what's behind what's on the other side of that mask. And I get it. And you should be a little bit apprehensive, careful at least when you're dealing with this person. But identifying the fact that, look, he seems so normal and nice. And yet I know that, at the flip of a coin, he can be a totally different person. That right there, my friend, indicates that you're recovering, because even though you're kind of nervous and you're kind of worried about it, you still know for sure what the truth is about this person. You're not doubting yourself. And I want to say that is amazing. And so thank you for sharing it, and keep going, girl. You're rocking it. All right. Hello, Ika. Hello, Ika Lou. How are you? I hope I'm saying your name right. Yes, you did catch me live. Thank you for being here. Mr. Jeezy says, I like your manipulative and weird things narc list from your viewers. That was very deep. You need a part 2 of that stuff. I'm actually working on something like that. It's a similar series with red flags from my followers and from the SPANily. So it's going to be really, really cool. Yeah, for sure. Shelly Schneider says she is well and hopes I'm also doing well. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for asking. And Kasha, Kash, I can't say it. How do you say it? Kasha? I'm going to go with Kasha. From Sweden. Hello and welcome. I'm sorry I can't pronounce things very well sometimes, but if you would phonetically spell out this, how to say your name, that would be great. And I will try to say it correctly. I know when Malta first came around, I don't think he's here today, but when he first came around, not only did I not understand that he was a he, but I also was saying Malta. And that's wrong. And so he phonetically spelled Malta for me, and I never said it wrong again, I think. At least he tolerated the way I said it then. So anyway, if you could just phonetically spell it for me, I would be happy to try to remember how to say it. Elizabeth says, definitely doesn't care about anyone but himself. He's the one who got his girlfriend pregnant. That's right. And wants to just start taking her daughter. I remember that now that you mentioned. I remembered you. I forgot about the fact that he already got the other woman pregnant. And he doesn't even know how she will treat it. I can't believe that he would ask somebody to marry him without at least introducing his daughter. And, you know, Elizabeth, on the plus side, here's an idea to think about. Maybe this is indicative of the fact that he won't be trying to take your daughter after all. Maybe his lack of concern for your daughter's feelings or even his future wife's feelings indicates that he's not really considering her as part of his quote-unquote family. And that's terrible, right? It really is. But at the same time, maybe it means you won't have to worry about him trying to take her. What do you think? Just let me know your thoughts. Oh, gosh. Phoenix says, feels like I'm in the forking bad place. I love that show, you guys. Do you guys watch that show? I can't stop. I can't wait for the next part of it to come out. I'm loving it. Anybody watch the Good Place? That show, The Good Place. It has Ted Danson and, gosh, I just knew her name a minute ago. The girl that starred in Sarah Marshall. I would have known her name if I hadn't tried to tell you. Anyway, and a bunch of other people. I really enjoy it. It's fun and kind of lighthearted and interesting to think about too. Mr. Gigi says, she broke that stuff all the way down. Yes, indeed, my friend. How are you? Brittany Bruce, hello and welcome. How are you? And Rise and Thrive says, Narc got married with a new person. I became aware in July. He married her in August. Just called me Friday from a random number to tell me calmly he pretty much did what he did because of me. Well, tell you what, Rise and Thrive. You know, for him to marry someone that he barely knows, or at least that he doesn't know as well as he maybe should, and to tell you then that he did it because of you, I mean, if you ask me, that I feel sorry for that woman involved or the other person involved, and I also feel sorry for, you know, well, mostly just her. But I hope that you realize that what he did by calling you and saying that was simply a manipulation. It was a way to try to suck you in. And sometimes the hoovering isn't about necessarily getting you back. Sometimes it's just about getting supply from you. So if you could cry and feel upset or angry at him for the way that he treated you, well, then he would get supply from that. He would be like, oh yeah, she's so, and then he would probably even talk about you to the new person and how you so badly want him back, and then use that fact to gaslight her. It's really, if I were you, I would block him or get as close to blocking him as you can. If you guys have kids together, I would only communicate through text and only about the children. There are apps for that. Check them out. I have a video called 7 apps. Just type in Angie Atkinson. If you want to look at this later, type into chat Angie Atkinson parent narcissist apps or something like that, because co-parent app or something like that into chat, it's in there. Let's see. Lorian Hibb says, good morning all. Angie, is the group off Facebook still available for 20? There is yeah, you can get that group off Facebook. If you're talking about, which one are you talking about? If you're talking about the SPANily home, then yeah, it's, I think you can still get like a 1-year subscription for $27. So that, yes, that's still available. Ika, hello. She says, that's sad. I know. Doreen says, to Jillian, I had to resubmit to get the notifications. Mine stopped too. Oh, so you may have to resubscribe and hit the bell notification, Jillian. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why they wouldn't notify you. But you know, for those of you who don't know, you can, if you want to be notified when I'm going live, you can also text the word Angie Live, ANGIELIVE, all one word, to 33222, and then I will always text you a few minutes before I go live each day. So that's another possibility for you. Okay. Hello, Behar. Rise and Thrive says, good thing I'm aware of him now. Yes, exactly. Indeed, indeed. George Southern says, it's more of a flirtatious, liking pictures on social media of my closest single friends because I got discarded and then I went no contact instantly. Perhaps she's annoyed. Oh, for sure she's annoyed, and for sure she's trying to get inside your head with that. Is there a reason that you haven't blocked her on social media? Let me know. Maddie, hello, Maddie Gutierrez from the Mod Squad. How are you? She says, good afternoon, Ms. Angie and Roomies. Been no contact almost 8 months and barely coming out of isolation. Well, now might be a good time if you're feeling strong. It might be a good time for you to think about adding some social activities to your agenda. What kind of things do you do outside of hanging around the house and working? Let me know. I know you go to church. Does the church have any good activities there for you that you can be involved with, like a ladies group or a, sometimes they'll have like book clubs or running groups, things like that. Or maybe there's some local, community center, or look at meetup.com. Those are some good ideas for meeting with some new like-minded folks. All right, Chelsea says, I am the empathic scapegoat daughter of a narcissist mother. I'm in a relationship with a toxic narcissist. They both treat me as less than human and battle each other. Is there hope for my toddler son? Yes, but Chelsea, if you don't pull out of at least one of those relationships, ideally both, you are certainly going to have a hard time making sure. You definitely want to start teaching him empathy right now. Ask him how people feel about things. Ask him how he feels about things. But even like people on television or people he doesn't know, or if he hits you, or little kids, at that age, sometimes they'll smack you or they'll bite you without thinking. That's a really good time to say, that really hurt me when you did that. Do you know how that feels? And ask them, how do you think mommy felt when you did that, or whatever. But definitely, yes, there's hope, but if you're still in both of those relationships, honey, you're going to have a hard time even keeping your head up long enough to really help him overcome it. I sadly have talked to so many adult children of narcissists who have said to me, my mom was cool, but she was clearly being abused by this person, or my dad was cool, but he was just so passively being abused by this person. And so what I hear is that the parent who wasn't the narcissist, who tried to help them do better, probably 80% of the time they don't help them. And then this child ends up in a relationship with a narcissist. So if you don't want your child to be a narcissist and you don't want your child to end up with a narcissist, you have some real serious decisions to make about where you go from here. And I know that's a painful thing to hear, but you've got plenty of time to figure this out. He's 2. Right now, start focusing on teaching him empathy and showing him empathy, letting him know that his feelings matter, letting him know that whatever he chooses to be is okay with you, encouraging him to explore himself and his own ideas and his own thoughts, and facilitating that, and definitely getting him involved in little play groups, social groups, things like that. Peers are important here. I don't know if you work outside the home, but if you don't, you might consider, a 2-day-a-week, 2-hour preschool program or something. They have lots of things like that for 2-year-olds these days. I don't know where you live, but Yes, I do believe that there is hope for your son. I do, but I also think that you've got to take care of yourself too. You've got to make sure that your own mental and emotional self, psychological self, is not completely overshadowed and overtaxed by dealing with two major narcissists in your life. It's I'm telling you this from personal experience. And I know it's hard and I know it's painful, but stick with us and we'll try to help you get through it, okay? All right. Mr. Wanna Lancet, welcome back. He says, oh no, that was Chelsea. Hold on. He says, is it normal for narcissist parents to have pitted their children against each other? If yes, why? I don't understand the purpose of it. Yes. If you watch, I have a video out there on toxic family structure that will give you like the whole scientific breakdown of it all. But yes, it's normal. And what a lot of times, just really quickly, what you end up with is you have a scapegoat child, which is the child that everybody kind of blames for everything, right? And then you've got like a golden child, which is the child who everybody thinks is amazing and awesome and gets all the credit and all the good stuff. And then sometimes you have a lost child, or you have I can't think of what, but a peacemaker child, the child who's always trying to make sure everything's okay. And the lost child is the one that kind of is the wallflower and does okay everywhere, might do really well in school, might not, but basically kind of stays under the radar. And you have, so, depending on the size of the family and everything, what you usually, but your two major roles usually are golden child and scapegoat. And so when you have two children, one is the golden child and one is the scapegoat. Well, then what ends up happening is that in a lot of cases, those two roles are reversed repeatedly throughout their lives. So your golden child might be the golden child for the first 5 years, and then maybe the scapegoat gets all straight A's for a year and a half in a row or 2 years in a row or something, and then they become the golden child for a minute, or whatever the standard is in that household. Whatever that narcissist wants their child to be, one of them becomes it, and one of them never does. And the one that becomes it, of course, is the golden child. And sometimes this is reversed back and forth. I can think of more than one situation that worked that way. Why do they do it? Sometimes I think they do it for things like amusement, but sometimes I think really in their minds, it's a divide and conquer strategy. So if nobody is, if the kids don't like feel close to each other, they can only feel close to mom and then mom or dad. And then that parent has to, always be the go-between and never is always required to facilitate that relationship, and almost in a lot of cases there's no relationship, or there's a negative relationship between the siblings. And I really think it has to do with, it's the same kind of concept as isolating you in a romantic relationship, except in this case it's isolating you in a sibling relationship, because they want to be the only point of contact in many cases. Not always, but in many cases. Yeah. It's a control thing. But watch those videos and you'll see a little more about why, the psychology of that, Mr. Wanna Lancet. Kit Kat, hello. She says, I started blogging for the first time ever since all of this went down. I finally realized that he could care less what I think about what he exposes the kids to. After 158 texts and 6 calls in 1 week, I'm done. Oh my God, what happened? What happened? Rise and Thrive says, oh, hi, Angie, at work. Hey. Me too. Jillian says, Rise and Thrive, I would block him. How interesting that he thinks you control him. In a weird way, it's kind of a compliment. He allegedly allowing you that power. That's actually a really great point, Ms. Jillian, and you're so right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's see here. Jillian, also from the Mod Squad, also our resident awesomeness person. I'm just going to stop there. Okay, Jillian, I love you, girl. Edward Barry. Hello, Mr. Barry. How are you? EB. He says, who is excited about the app? I haven't even talked about that yet. Let me just tell you this really quickly. So there is a new app that I am working with, and I have this new coaching program that is super cheap compared to my regular rates. I mean, ridiculously cheap. So if you want to learn more about that, go to dailycoach.app. There's also a video on my YouTube channel you can check out later. It's not a huge deal, but it's something that could really change your life. And it's something that would allow you to be recovering on a daily basis on a personalized program. So take a look and if you're interested. Thank you so much, Edward, for bringing that up. I appreciate you, my friend. Okay, and then Jen Archer, hey. She says, hey, all you beautiful people. Angie, you look amazing. Well, thank you. She says, hey, I did it. I wrote it, my story. I just haven't read it. Oh my gosh, that's so funny that you haven't read it, but that's really awesome that you did it. I think that's really cool. What are you going to do with it? Have you decided yet? Are you just writing it for yourself? Are you writing it to share with somebody or anything? I would love to help you publish it if you are interested in publishing it. Let me know. Zoelfa, hello, how are you? I'm sure I said your name wrong, but welcome, welcome. She says, hi, I'm from South Africa. It is 2 o'clock here. Right on. My teen daughter is 13, has gone from cutting herself to doing weed. Oh no. With her brother supplying her from high school, I have to get out. Oh my gosh. She says, thank you, Angie, for SPANily. Oh my gosh, that is so scary, and I'm so with you on that. You have to get out. Is this your son, her brother, or is this a stepchild? Let me know. Either way, I I I can't imagine why a brother would do. Well, I guess I could imagine, but that's upsetting and scary. I don't know if this would work with your kid, but what I did with my kid when at 13, he asked me what I thought about this, the possibility of him ingesting this substance that is legal in some states here, not my state. I mean, at least not without a prescription. But he brought this to my attention when he was 13, and I said, well, let's research it. And my kid's very concerned about, his future and his brain and the functionality of that. And so I showed him studies that said that kids under a certain age, will be brain damaged. And then I mentioned some people that I knew who might have been, teenagers like him who could have been very smart and capable at some point, but then turned out to be maybe not so smart and capable. So actually, that worked really well for him. He was quickly turned off by the idea and has decided that he will wait until he's older to decide. So I don't know if that's helpful for you at all, but that is something that helped me. But I agree with you. Getting out is going to be a big important thing for you right now. James says, I was seeing a woman and I freaked out one day when she was quieter for a few hours. I kind of freaked out and it ruined it. 3 weeks later, she sent a text saying she's not feeling the same. She never got the feelings back after the fight. Okay. How did you respond to that, James? Let me know. Anne says, I have a question. I'm hoping you could tell me how to pick a good company to work for as I look. How will I know? Any ideas on how not to choose a narcissistic employer? Oh, that's a great point. If you're looking to work for a small business, look and see what their mission is, look and see what their values are, things like that. You can usually find that stuff on the websites. If it's, a larger business, the business itself is maybe not going to be, the big issue for you, but maybe your direct supervisor would. So in that case, I would go to an interview. I would watch how the supervisor interacts with you. I would see, do they look you in your eyes? Do they look you up and down like this too many times? Do they ask questions about you, or are they asking questions about your ability to serve them, which I know sounds weird, but sometimes, of course, you need to know, they need to tell, find out how you can benefit the company. But, this is a tough one to explain in a really quick minute. I will make a video for you to go into more detail, but it's about watching the small facial the facial cues. I've got videos on facial cues. It's about the sense of the way you feel around the person is important, and being careful to I'll do a video. There's so much it's a deep subject, but I think my point is, how will you know? Does the person remind you of any narcissist you know? That's a really good, quick, easy one. If you are looking at the values of the company or the mission of the company, and it isn't about serving people on some level, then that might be an indication. If we're talking about a a small company, I mean, unless you're like working, even the electric company has like, we're here to serve people kind of stuff, but I think maybe what you're saying is a particular a particular boss maybe. So let me clarify that for me, and then I'll make a video for you on that. in a little more detail. Okay, now I lost where I was. I was with Maddie was about. Oops. Okay. Maddie says, I'm barely out of isolation because of the narcissistic abuse. Back at church and activities quitting, I feel so refreshing and happy. Oh, that's so good. Good, 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 good. I'm glad. Quilting, not quitting. That is so good, Maddie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Still Prill. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? And, oh, good. Jillian, Rise and Thrive. Already blocked that one. Good, good. Yes, indeed. Okay. Hey, Divine Time. How are you? Kingdom Princess. Hi, everyone. On my way to court to face the narc. Okay, everybody. Positive, strong energy to Kingdom Princess. Let's see here. Jillian says, James, I'm sorry. Chances are that if she didn't extend any grace to you, she's not ready to be in a relationship anyway. I agree. James says, I feel very alone and like damaged goods, like a puppy, a family adopted but returned because that is a condition. Okay, hold up. Breathe with me, James. Look at me. Look at me. Breathe with me. Listen. If you were just dating this person and you freaked out and it didn't work out, it's okay. If it's meant to be, it's going to happen. In this case, it wasn't meant to be. Maybe you're not ready yet. Maybe it just wasn't the one. But it's not your fault. There's nothing wrong with you. It just wasn't a good fit. You have to forgive yourself. Stop asking yourself over and over again, why did I do that? Why didn't I just act like a normal person, or whatever's going through your head right now? And remember that you deserve to be happy and you deserve to be loved just as much as anyone else. And you deserve to have standards just as much as anyone else. Have some standards for yourself, but also, you know, if she made you feel uncomfortable, if she made you nervous or whatever, and you asked her about it and then she kind of dumped you for it, maybe she wasn't your girl. You know, maybe you need to keep your options open because Ms. Right is like right around the corner, or she's, you know, 2 or 3 or 5 months away or whatever. You can't beat yourself up about it. You have to keep your heart open and your mind open for that one who is your one, and be okay with this one not being your one. You know, sometimes even though we don't understand why it's happening, when it's happening, it turns out to be the best thing that ever happened. You know what I'm saying? Stay strong, my friend. We got your back. Stay here with us and check in. Let us know how you're doing. And, you know, when you do find Ms. Right, and if you want to invite me to your wedding, I won't be mad. I'm just saying. Stay strong, my friend. Really, stay strong. Big hugs to you. I'm so sorry. And I agree with what Jillian said about that as well. Kit Kat says he started the circle all over again regarding medical bills for the kids. She says, I laughed out loud at the thought that he thinks I'm going to go through covered material all over again. Patterns revealed. Yeah, of course, of course. He's probably going to do this every time. And if I were you, I would do exactly what I bet you're already doing, and that is to put something in place to prevent it. And if that means, and that's, I guess that's what you're doing. You're saying you're stopping this. So I would do that. I would send him the bill or whatever it is that he's supposed to pay if you have to do it, or have someone else send it if necessary. And don't speak of it again until it's paid, or only speak of it in order to say, according to the court order, you have this. I would literally have it on your phone and on your computer, copy paste it into the email every time. The same response. As you understand, the court, blah, 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 blah. Here's the bill. Here is da, 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 da. Here's your percentage. Period. End of discussion. No emotion. Bam. You could even come up with an auto replier in Gmail for that auto reply thing. Okay. Let's see. We have Jillian. I am still not sorry. I am sorry. I try not to take this personally. Yes, I totally agree with you on James. Jen says you're not alone, James. Child of God says, hello, everyone. Hey, Child of God, how are you? And Nicola Owen says, thank you, Angie. She says, I thought it was so I could see it. Yep. She said, I'm 1 month no contact. Woohoo! Congratulations. She says, thanks for your help. They helped me during early hours and down days. Oh, that's amazing. I'm so glad to hear that, Nicola. Awesome. Jillian says to James, you know what? You're not damaged. You're putting your life back together, and you should be congratulated for that. So congratulations. And she is so right. Girl, we are on the same page. And James, really, she's totally on point. Absolutely. He says he's definitely taking it personal and it makes him feel like he's the problem. Listen, again, I understand completely. Even before I read that comment, I think, I kind of got you there, okay? It's not you. It's just not. You have to, how do I say this? Okay, so I'm not even remotely close to perfect. I know, it's shocking, right? But it's true. And the reason that I'm okay with who I am with my not perfectness is that what I do is I make allowances for myself in my life, right? I've talked before about how, I need to have an hour a day by myself without anybody talking to me or I'll go crazy. That's true. And that's probably a result of my CPTSD, maybe. The other thing is, or maybe it's just about being an empath and being overwhelmed by everyone sometimes. I'm sorry, I got a cold. A little cold right now. Anyway, wow, that sounded terrible, and I'm sorry for that. But I guess my point is, it's not you aren't the problem. If you expect someone to contact you or respond to your contact in a reasonable amount of time, that does not make you the problem. Okay. What it makes you is human. And what it makes her is wrong for you. Because if she has a problem with you, kind of freaking out a little bit when you don't respond to, when she doesn't respond to you in a reasonable amount of time, that's not you. She's got her own issues too. And like I said, if she's meant to be, you guys will figure it out. And if she's not, you might be waiting for the right one and it just might not be her. Consider this good practice. Consider this, okay, a lesson, if nothing else. And maybe sometimes we have to go through things so that when we do meet the right person, we can, be more careful about how we choose to communicate and things like that. But it doesn't mean that this one is necessarily the right one, and you cannot blame yourself. You have to know that you are just as valuable, if not more so, as her. And the fact is that she didn't communicate with you in a way that was comfortable for you. And when you expressed concern about that, she freaked out and dumped you. That's not because of something you did wrong. It's because of an area in which you were incompatible. Does that make sense? Let me know. Okay, hello, Jessica. Crystal says, how do I stop going back? I've tried no contact. I have no one else to turn to. I went so crazy over him. I got a felony charge. When he locked me out of our house with another woman, I still took him back. Really? Crystal, you deserve so much more than that. If my husband ever even thought to lock me out of my own damn house with another woman, or even his house with another woman, while she was in the house, he would not be my husband. I can't, Crystal, if I were you, I would start working on becoming independent. I would start working on not needing him or anyone else to get by so that you don't have to just take whatever is available, because you deserve better than that. I promise you that you do. No woman deserves, and no man deserves, having to stand outside knowing that, their person is in there with another person cheating on them. I am just floored by this. I would start focusing, Crystal, on healing yourself. I would start focusing on taking care of yourself financially and mentally and emotionally, and stop needing anyone. And when you can get to that point, you will choose, and you will see that you deserve so much better than somebody like that. I promise you, Crystal. Trust me. Kira says, I'm trying to recover from a lifetime of being raised by a narcissistic father. It is a daily battle for self-esteem and boundaries. Absolutely, Kira. It is very difficult, and hold on. I'm gonna try to remember to mute for coughing. The thing is that when you're dealing with being raised by a narcissistic father or mother, there's always that daily battle of self-esteem, of course, and boundaries. Because number one, you learn that your boundaries don't matter with a narcissistic parent. They may or may not teach you some boundaries, but they get to betray every boundary. And sometimes they don't teach you any boundaries at all. It depends on if they're if they're controlling or neglectful and dismissive. There's usually one of those two or some combination of them. With a narcissistic father and a girl, I assume you're a girl. If I'm wrong, let me know. But what I see is that girls who don't have good fathers and girls who have really bad fathers tend to, girls who don't have any fathers sometimes, or are abandoned, or those who were abused by their own fathers, they tend to really struggle with the boundaries, especially sometimes as younger women. Certain boundaries are very difficult to stand by, certain physical boundaries. Some of them end up, I don't want to go into a bunch of detail here, but you end up with some bad stuff. And so working on your self-esteem, working on your boundaries, very important things. One of the most important things is your self-perception, and knowing that you have the ability, and I think the responsibility, to adjust it and determine it for yourself, to let go of things that you have in your self-perception now that were not things you decided for yourself. Very often we are told for so long that there are things wrong with us, that we're not attractive, we're not intelligent, we're not whatever. And then other people might be like, what do you mean you're totally attractive and intelligent? But you can't see it because the person who helped you become a person, the person you've known your whole life, who should have been your one source of unconditional love, doesn't give you that. And so then you're left with this really mangled self-perception. So that's where I would start, Kira. If I were you, I would start by doing a little exercise. I would simply write down all those perceptions you have of yourself that are negative and try to pinpoint where they come from. And I bet you a lot of them will come from your father. Some of them might come from people at school or other family members, friends, things like that, first boyfriends, whatever. And then write down next to each one. I want you to cross it out. And then I want you to, let it sit overnight, and then write down whatever it is that you truly do, in fact, believe or want to be true. Sometimes we have to first fake it a little till we make it, but part of you knows that you really are intelligent, you really are attractive, you really are whatever it is that he said that you weren't. And even if you can't quite admit it to yourself yet, go ahead and own it anyway, because you will get there. And putting it down in writing for some reason has huge power. Try it out and see how it feels. All right. Nails says, cutting all toxic people out of my life. It is so freeing and such a relief. Sayonara, high conflict peeps. Oh, indeed. I have been there, my friend, and I love it. Congratulations. Keep going. Crystal Rolfe says, to Kingdom Princess, oh, good luck. Be strong. Try to give up off vibes of confidence, goodness, and strength. Yes, indeed. James says, it doesn't feel like it. I feel like they all run away. I've had several do similar, and it hurts a lot. Oh, honey, I feel you. Listen. Maybe you're just not ready yet. Is it possible? Is it possible that you're just not ready yet? And you need a little more time to heal and maybe get to know yourself a little bit better in the process? I'm wondering if your self-confidence isn't causing some of this struggle. Let me know. And I don't mean to be in any way negative when I say that, because not being ready is not a bad thing. It just means you have a little more a little more understanding you need to gain first, or a little more self-knowledge, maybe self-awareness. Maybe you're not aware of the fact that you're a catch. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of things that you have going on for you that a lot of people don't. And maybe you should take some time to focus on some of those qualities and recognize that, in fact, whoever ends up with you will be very lucky, not nice enough to stay. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, you want them to be nice, but you also don't want them to stay just to be nice. You want them to stay because they love you and they feel strongly and have passion for you and what you're about, You want somebody that maybe everybody has that initial infatuation factor, and anyone who's physically attracted to another person can kind of pick that up. Excuse me. So the initial infatuation period is not the time that it is. You can't know if you love a person yet or not in those moments, but what you can do is, when you do make it past the initial infatuation period with someone, you can take it slow, and you can make sure that they're on the same page with you, and you can have standards yourself. Your standards obviously need to include someone who will communicate with you in a certain kind of pattern, at least a polite pattern, if nothing else. Even if that person just said to you, I'm going to take a couple days and I'm going to go over here and do this thing, maybe you would have appreciated knowing that they weren't going to talk for a couple of days. If you want someone who's a joined at the hip kind of person, don't be afraid to look for that person. There are people in the world who love to be joined at the hip with their significant other, and then there are those who don't. And so one of the things that I recommend that I think is so important for all of us is something I should have listened to myself about, and that is that, if in hindsight, if I could do differently anything at all in relationships, it would have been not thinking that complete opposites are necessarily the best fit. Sometimes it's hard, and being a complete opposite with your spouse, or being someone who prefers a different communication style or a different, love language or whatever, whether that person's healthy or not, it's going to be difficult. So think about finding someone who's more on the same page with you. It doesn't mean that you're bad or they're bad. It just means find someone who wants the same things you want. And if you're not ready to do that, or you're too nervous that you'll stay alone forever, give yourself a little bit of time to love yourself first. I know that's woo-woo and silly, but just trust me, honey. It really does make a difference. It truly does. Let me know what you think. All right. And I know it hurts. Trust me, I do. Jillian says, James, you are the solution to your own life. Simply because this didn't work out doesn't negate all the work you've done here in recovery. Exactly. So true, Jillian. You're so on point about that. Kit Kat says, he's such a dope. I'm still finding my way, and it feels really weird that I'm enjoying my days more than not. I feel guilty, like I should be doing what I've always done. My way is more fun. I feel ya. Don't feel guilty, because what you're doing is exactly, I think this is a normal stage in recovery. Keep enjoying your days. I know you're still finding your way. It's a process. And you'll have good days and you'll have bad days. But it sounds like you're having a few more good days than bad days, which is a beautiful thing. And I want you to try to drop the guilt feelings, because you have nothing to feel guilty for. Literally nothing. You have been like so amazing in this whole thing. And not only have you, had to deal with all the divorce and him getting a new supply right away and all this other junk, but you're taking care of your children and your home and you're doing all this stuff, like making it look easy from the outside. I know it's not easy on the inside, but I'm so proud of you and watching you blossom and recover. It's such a beautiful thing. And I think that everyone who's been here a while would agree with me, because for those who don't know, she had been with us since before she even got divorced. And we've been with her since from that point to today. And she's been up, oh my gosh, through so many things. And it's just so amazing to watch her overcome and keep going and stand strong. And sometimes she just comes in to offer encouragement to fellow survivors. It's such a beautiful thing. I'm just thrilled. Maddie says, blessings to Jillian. And Ron says, hey, Maddie. Let's see here. Cheyenne is here. Hey, Cheyenne, how are you? She says, what do I do when going no contact isn't really an option? I've done it before and it was the best thing ever. Even just getting a slight sense of distance by moving out, but I'm back with my mom. Well, why are you with your mom? Best thing to do when you can't leave right now, if you can't, it's about money, you have to live with her or something like that, then Gray Rock. So anytime, basically if you're living with her, the only time you give her any attention at all is positive attention. If she is doing something nice or polite for you, oh, thank you so much. And that's, don't go crazy about it. Just be nice about it. If she's doing something rude or disrespectful to you, or she's demanding something rude or disrespectful from you, don't. Do whatever you need to do to stay in the house. Make sure you have an agreement. If like she's like, well, you have to do the dishes to live here, because that sounds like a good idea to me. Then, make sure you do the dishes. But outside of that, don't feel like you owe her the world. Don't feel like everything is, her way or the highway. And if I'm you, and if it is a money thing, I would be getting busy and making some money and getting out of there as quickly as you can, because she will absolutely try to control you. Other than that, the Gray Rock thing is the way to go. Let me know your thoughts. James says, right, but it doesn't make me feel like dating at all or talking to women is pointless. Like I should just give up on it. James, I don't think you should give up on it, but I think you should give it some time if you're feeling this strongly after this situation. I really feel like it's like you're not ready, because you're taking it so personally, and it's really, really not It's about her and you, but not in a negative way. It's just that you're not compatible. And that's okay. Honestly, I think, like I said, the thing I learned the hard way is that you can't just push two puzzle pieces that don't fit together and expect them to be happy squished together. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I don't know. I hope it does. Crystal says, James, maybe you're attracting those women because you're not ready for a relationship yet. Yes. Yes. And Jillian's on the same page. She says, James, maybe just slow down a little bit. There will be a shift. Maybe there is something more for you to learn before there's change to come. Yes. Sometimes we have to go through some stuff. And I'm telling you right now, I think part of it is to recognize that you are also a catch and you also deserve someone who deserves you. And maybe that person wasn't that person. You can't assume you're the problem. James says, if I wasn't damaged, they wouldn't run so much. Well, part of the problem is that if you're feeling damaged still to that point where it's affecting your relationships, then we're absolutely on point here. You need to give yourself a little more time before you're ready to jump. It's just not time yet. Let me know what you think. Edward Berry says, and has anyone experienced the NPD having this real need to educate everyone about everything we are, and they are aware they have no real idea what they're talking about? Oh, sure. Yeah. One of my narcissists was quite literally publishing a prayer request about me in a newsletter that was going to about 250 people locally, until I said, oh, my audience is a little bit bigger than yours. And if you really want to spread it all around, I can tell my side of the story to my audience, because I was being called crazy and other things. So that ended right away, which was great. Yes, that has happened in different ways. And I'm sure other people have experienced something similar. What's going on, Ted? Let me know. Let's see here. Okay, how many more? How much more? Okay. All right. Suzanne Carrick says, it took me about a year to figure out my trigger. My anxiety got so bad my face would go numb. This was all due to a narcissist. I got it figured out and no more numb face or anxiety. That's crazy. And that's exactly how, sometimes knowledge is like, the term knowledge is power is not powerful enough. Because for me, understanding what I was dealing with, knowing it, realizing who I was dealing with, and understanding all the depths and levels to that, that's powerful. When you can watch somebody in front of you who you have been abused by commit a textbook behavior, where you've heard Angie Atkinson or anyone else describe to you that exact behavior, and then you're standing there watching it in front of your eyes, and you're like, oh, that's the same thing I just heard about on YouTube, or that's the same thing I just read about on this article, or whatever. It's powerful, y'all. It's powerful. It changed my whole world, because I had started researching it, trying to figure out what the heck was wrong with some person in my life. And as I was doing that, I was seeing, okay, well, this is gaslighting, and what this person is doing in this very moment, well, this over here, this is the same thing. I mean, it totally blew my mind. And it helped me to not feel so hurt and to not feel so broken and wrong and messed up, because knowing that, in fact, that was a disorder and there was something wrong with that person gave me the strength that I needed to really start to heal. It gave me the strength to see, holy crap, I was wrong. It wasn't me. I wasn't the problem. All those years I was told I was the problem. Guess what? I wasn't the problem, and I wasn't crazy, no matter what anyone wanted to believe. So I think that's powerful. What do you think? Share your thoughts. Let me know. Tell me in the comments. Yeah. Okay. Jillian, I can't talk. James. Jillian wants to know if you really believe what you said. James says, and when they run, I chase them for fear of abandonment. Okay. So make a rule for yourself that you don't chase people who run. All right. I don't chase people. And I'm telling you that because that's literally one of my personal rules for myself. I promise you, if somebody says goodbye to me of their accord, and they if somebody dumps me, or even if my husband of 13 years today would tell me, okay, I've been cheating on you, or would do one of the deal breakers, or would, leave me or whatever, that would be it. That's who I am. I don't do chasing. And it's kind of funny because when I was pregnant with my middle son, oh, Bill and we got in this little argument, and I was talking to his mom on the phone, who was like my mom too. And she said, if you want, you can send him back here for a while and he could stay with me until he calms down. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, if he does come back there and live with you, you could keep him, because I don't do I don't do break up and get back together. It's just be together or not for me. And so, yeah, I get you. Okay. The fear of abandonment thing is real, but learning to be okay by yourself is so much more important in this whole deal. And until I got to that place where I could really feel like, you know what, I feel like I'm okay, even if I never get married again, that's when, like 2 weeks later, I met my husband. You know what I'm saying? You have to get to that place where you're just like, I would rather be by myself than in a relationship that makes me feel crazy. We fall into old habits, and our physical, and women have just as big of a need to be with a man or a woman or whatever as men do, but men have this other, look, it's like this. For women to feel, my cat is sneezing, that's so funny. For women to feel close to a man, typically, healthy women to feel close to a healthy man, they, in order to feel like they're sexually close to that person, they need to be emotionally attracted to that person and emotionally connected to that person. For men to feel, for healthy men to feel connected to healthy women, if they want to feel emotionally connected, they already need to be physically connected. So it's like the opposite. So in healthy relationships, sometimes couples have to remember that, if he would like to be physically close to her, he must be emotionally open to her. And if she would like to be emotionally close to him, she must be physically open to him. But that only works in healthy relationships. You know what I'm saying? When the relationships are unhealthy and are broken and everything's messed up, sex is only going to complicate things and make it worse, honestly, especially early in the relationship. So just be careful. I don't know if I'm making any sense at all. I'm just rambling at this point, but I'm telling you real things that are helpful as you go forward. Okay. Good luck to Kingdom Princess, says Ms. Doreen B. Ron spelled Maddie's name correctly. Thank you, Ron. You're a man after my own heart. I'm the same way. I will do that same thing. I'm sure Maddie didn't mind. James Crystal says that it's not that you're damaged goods, it's that you aren't fully healed yet. Yes, we're all on the same page with you on this one, James. You got to heal some more. That's okay. It's okay. We got your back. We're here for you, all of us, okay? Stay with us. We're going to get you through it. The Ancient Lantern says, can you do more getting your sexy back videos and self-care, self-love videos? I love those. Yes! Those are my favorite videos to do. Yes, I will do some more of those for you. I absolutely will. And Kit Kat says, Angie, I thought I had deal breakers in place my entire life, but the worst fears still happened. I really want to double down on the deal breaker so it never happens again. I won't fall for this again. Absolutely. And make sure your deal breakers, for me, the deal breakers are things that don't change. Does that make sense? So I think you probably know mine because I know we've talked 100 million times, but here they go. First, deal breaker number 1 is don't cheat me. Don't cheat me. Listen, don't cheat on me. And then it's don't hurt me physically or mentally or otherwise. Don't abuse me and don't hurt my children. Three. So, anything else, I'm not saying I'll stay, but anything else I'll talk about before I leave and I'll decide. You know what I mean? You have an opportunity to fix it if it's anything else. And if maybe your deal breakers are different than mine, but whatever they are, know them and set them in stone. Like, I literally told this to my husband on the same day that he said, let's be monogamous together in this relationship, because we dated for a while before we decided that we were going to be just the two of us. I mean, not that either one of us dated anybody else before, during that time. We were pretty much monogamous from the first day, but we never officially said it until 6 months in or whatever. And at that time, then I said, here are my deal breakers. And he said, well, that's convenient because those are my deal breakers too. So it worked out really well. Of course, he didn't have any children at the time, but I had one. So, but when we did have our two that we have together, then yes, those deal breakers were also his. So anyway, but yeah, I'm with you on that. I know it's a hard thing to do, but it's totally worth the energy. James says, yeah, apparently I'm not ready, but it makes me want to give up on dating. Yeah, I get that. I totally do get that. But I just, look, if you want to say, look, I'm giving up on dating, fine, 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 go ahead. It doesn't mean you have to give up forever. Maybe just give yourself a couple of months or, maybe up to a year, just depending on how much time you really need to heal. And then I want you to go out and have fun with your friends or go out and do things that you never get to do that you haven't done in a long time. Have a life for a minute. See how that feels. It could be a really good thing, my friend. What do you think about that? What do you love to do? Tell me. What do you love to do? Everybody tell me that in the chat right now. What do you love to do? I'm just interested in knowing. Tell me. What makes you smile? What makes you happy? What would you do if you could do it for free every day because you never had to pay another bill in your life? What would you do? What is your favorite thing in the world? Tell me. Really, I'm interested in knowing that. Chelsea says, the biggest trigger for me is how much everyone seems to love him, and women who are old friends have told me how amazing he is and how I should appreciate him. His family attacks me regularly. Oh, Chelsea, I'm so sorry. The women who are old friends, I'm guessing, are part of the circle of supply for him. And it's kind of like, have you seen my video on narcissistic harems? A lot of times these women, they're a thing. In fact, I have a client right now who is dealing with something kind of similar to this. And where her narcissist kind of fan club is following her around, making her life miserable. And, again, I would seriously consider, going no contact and blocking anyone who acts like this. These are flying monkeys. These are people who are doing his bidding for him. And these are the narcissistic harem. His family attacking you is probably evidence that he came out of a toxic family, which is probably no surprise to you. But getting involved in your lives and your personal life and attacking you directly, I think is very unhealthy on their part. And I think that if I were you, I would block and remove yourself from the lives of every single person who has done that who has, minimized you or insulted you or betrayed you or hurt you on his behalf, because those people will not change. Those people are currently wrapped in his own stuff. Now, at some point, one of those people might see the light and come and apologize, but just still be careful and don't trust them and assume that they're real, because you don't know. You can't know, especially if they're not your people, the people that you knew before you knew him. And even some of those people can be dangerous when we're talking about a very persuasive narcissist. So be careful. Keep your back covered and be careful who you trust right now until you figure out who the flying monkeys really are and who they aren't, Hey, Misty, how are you? Misty, her appearance just reminds me that if you guys haven't yet seen it, for those of you who are going through divorce right now, we have a new sister site at Queen Being called divorceyournarcissist.com. And Misty here, she is the one who is doing the DIY divorce. She's a former paralegal. She's got a lot going on, and she's very educated in this area. She is our featured blogger over at divorceyournarcissist.com. So if you guys have a minute and you want to check that out, go check it out. It's totally, there's a lot of free stuff there and a lot of good resources for you there. So, and of course, Ms. Misty is sharing her story there as well as on Queen Being. But we'll get to that. Okay. Kit Kat says, James, I hear that, but they say there are good people out there. I'm skeptical but open. I think that's reasonable. Skeptical but open. I do believe there are good people out there. And I believe, the thing is that sometimes we have to go outside of our comfort zone to be ready to meet them. Sometimes we have to be willing to stand up and, go somewhere else or go somewhere we've never been before or join a meetup group that we're passionate about, underwater basket weaving. We should go to a meetup group and maybe we'll meet someone else who's passionate about underwater basket weaving. And then we can go underwater basket weave together. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are so many possibilities, but you have to open your horizons and open your mind and don't rush. Never, never rush. If you meet someone and they seem awesome, okay, spend time, have a good time, see how it goes. Don't rush into anything. Don't overcommit too fast. Don't assume this is the one until somewhere after the 6-month mark. You can't truly know a person. I mean, really, until you live with them, but you can't really know a person until you spend enough time with them to really see the bads and, the ups and the downs and all the things in between. You know what I mean? It's such a process. I would always just be focused on fun and keeping things light at the beginning of any relationship, not overdoing it, not sharing your deepest, darkest secrets any time in the very early parts of the relationship. Wait until later to do that. You know, I mean, the things you have to tell them include whether or not you have children. And, you know, if you have been divorced or you're going through a divorce, you should be honest that you have been or are going through a divorce. And in the beginning, if they say, why are things this way? Or, why did you get divorced or whatever? Then you can just say something like, you know what, that's not important. That's in the past. We'll talk about, that's in the past. Let's talk about us, or let's talk about you, or let's talk about anything other than that. Like, gloss over it, because that's not their business until they're an insider for you. And somebody can't be an insider for you just because they're hot, okay? Or just because they make you feel tingly. Because, you guys, if all the people in the world who made me feel tingly were insiders for me, I mean, that would be a really big circle, right? I don't know. I don't really feel that tingly anymore. But I gotta stop talking about tingles at this point. So anyway, Jillian says, I would dig into abandonment, the fear of abandonment, and see if you can identify anything underneath that. I bet Angie has some videos. Yes. Angie, can you dig into the fear of abandonment? Yeah, I can definitely do that. Fear of abandonment is a very common one. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Crystal says, James, I haven't dated yet because I know I'm not fully healed, and I don't think I can start anything solid by foundation until my foundation is strong, secure, and unshakable. Yes. Yes. Yes, Crystal. Yes, that's right. And James, I'm not in any way judging anybody, because I know you and Crystal are on two different paths. You have two different lives, but you gotta love yourself enough, James, to give yourself a little space so that you can be ready to meet that perfect match for yourself. Because there is somebody, for all of us out there who, if there are like billions of people in the world and only one of those people is your person, okay, so it's okay for you to date around and have fun. Don't overcommit to anyone until you're ready, and I mean, at the same time, don't be a jerk and, make people feel bad about themselves or whatever. Be honest, and let's go on a date. Let's see what happens. That was great. You want to go out on another date and see what happens? I mean, keep it light, keep it real. But, when you find yourself feeling something for someone, check the red flags. Are there red flags that you're missing because you're turned on by this person? These are real questions. Think about these things. Brainio fan, hello. Jen Archer says The Good Place. Yes, it's like, I don't know. I watched it on Hulu, but it's also on some like ABC or NBC or something channels. So you could check it there too. It's great. I really like it. Elizabeth Elliott says, sadly, I think he will take her and not care. But sadly, I hope you're right. I don't know what's best anymore. Well, I don't think that he can take her without the court saying he can take her. And I don't see why the court would take her from you when you're obviously her primary parent at this point. They aren't going to just give your child to someone else because they have a spouse. It doesn't work that way in 2018, So just tell the truth and be there and do what you can do to show them that you take care of your child and that you love your child and you have her best interest at heart. And quite honestly, I don't know if this would matter to a judge or not. Jillian, if you're still here, let us know. But if I were a judge and I heard that someone got engaged without checking with their daughter or at least introducing their daughter, I would probably wonder about that. I don't know. Something to think about. All right. I sure hope that's my husband walking around in the hallway because I hear somebody in my house. Anyway, Jessica says, a narcissist mom had an affair and got caught. Now she is... Oh, her narcissist mother had an affair and got caught. Now she's trying to sabotage her stepdad and her with lies in all of our social circles, including churches we go to, my college professor, family. What do we do? Okay. This is a difficult situation, but what you do is you literally, this is so strange sounding, you literally have to I'm sorry, I'm like distracted by this noise in the background as well. In order to deal with a smear campaign, Jessica, what you're going to have to do is this. When it comes to your college professor, I don't know how much his opinion of you matters or her opinion of you matters, but if it does, except for your grade, but if they're involved in your personal life, that's weird already. But if you're concerned about your grade being affected or your career being affected in some way, then I would go to your university and there. I don't think it's called an HR department for students, but I can't remember. A student union will be able to tell you what to do. Okay, talk to someone at your university about this, because I think this could be considered inappropriate behavior by the professor to be involved in any sort of scandal that you're involved with. With telling lies in your social circles, churches, things like that. Am I to assume that she's accusing you of having an affair with your stepfather? Is that what this is? I don't know, but I'm guessing that it has something. Well, it can't be good, whatever it is, right? So the best thing that you and your stepfather can both do is say, if you know me, you know I wouldn't do that, and leave it at that. I assume that you're over 18. If you are not over 18, then you have a real problem on your hands. If you are over 18, then you definitely just have to say, you know me better than that. And if people don't know you better than that, those aren't your people. And if they're going to be accusatory or treat you badly because of it, then you just don't deal with those people. The professor, there are legal things you can do within the university. If you're still, if you're talking about a current professor, if it's a previous professor, then unfortunately, if they don't believe you and they harass you about it, then you can just kind of go no contact with that person as well. What you do is you don't give it too much of your attention. The people who matter enough to you to say this to them, you say, if you know me, you know I didn't do those things, period. And leave it at that. Don't defend yourself any further because you didn't do those things, whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? And the same for your stepfather if he is being also sabotaged with same or similar lies. If you know me, I didn't do those things. And those people who are toxic enough to harass you or try to ruin your life about it, those people don't get to be in your life anymore. Does that make any sense? Let me know your thoughts. Let's see here. Rebecca Bird says, my narcissist ex lives across from me in our dorm and tore my name sign off my door. I don't feel safe. What should I do? Go to your resident advisor in the dorm, explain what happened, and if you don't get any sort of satisfactory answer of, we'll discipline or deal with this person, go to the police and tell them what happened and say that you don't feel safe and you're scared and get some help. That's what you do. If you're worried about your safety, always never be afraid to go to the police and get it on record, get it on file. Even if they say, well, you don't have enough proof to, file a restraining order, say, okay, well, I still want to make a report so I can get it on record because I'm scared of this person. And be, your own advocate. Stay strong and be your own advocate and don't let yourself feel unsafe in your place. Make sure when you are there, you lock the door. Make sure you don't walk around alone at night, or even during the day in the stairwells. I don't know how your dorms are, but mine had these stairwells that probably lots of bad stuff could have happened in if you weren't careful. So, use the front entrance if possible, or, if you are with someone, make sure that, if you are going in the back ways or whatever, make sure that you have someone with you. If you do have to walk alone, don't be scared to carry mace or whatever's legal on your campus to carry to protect yourself. So basically what I'm saying is don't sit around feeling scared, but prepare yourself to protect yourself if necessary. Always lock your door when you come in the room, lock the door in the bathroom, et cetera, et cetera. And then don't, talk to your roommate about not leaving the door unlocked, all that kind of stuff. And don't hesitate to speak to campus security, police, your resident advisor, all of that stuff to let them know. And then just focus on living after that. Be prepared, do what you need to do to get the ball rolling toward your safety, and then don't dwell on it. Does that make any sense? So always be careful, always be prepared, but don't live in fear. I hope that makes some sense. Chelsea says, I know I'm needy here. I'm just discovering what is wrong with me and my life. Totally feel you. Totally feel you. It's okay. That's why we do these live streams. It's exactly why. So Rise and Thrive says, I feel sorry for her too. I really do. He's hoovering and it didn't work. I ended the call. Good for you, Rise and Thrive. I'm proud of you to hear that. That's great news. Crystal says, I'm so broken. I don't have any hope. I feel too far down the rabbit hole. I'm like Martha Stewart. I'm like his slave. No one will want me. He got me in trouble legally. No one will want me, so I stay. Crystal. first of all, I'm sure someone will want you, but second of all, that is a manipulation tactic that he's done. He's made you believe that no one would want you because of XYZ, and that is part of the way he's keeping you there. That's a manipulation tactic, a direct manipulation tactic. My guess is you're probably a lot better than you're giving yourself credit for, and he probably knows that, and that's why he is doing everything in his power to hold you down and keep you down. So don't fall for that. Don't believe that, Crystal. Make sure that you think about who you really are. Just like I was telling James earlier, you are a catch and you have to recognize that. It takes a minute sometimes, but just think about what would happen if you weren't there doing all the stuff you're doing for him, taking care of all the things you do take care of. How would that look for him? Not very good, I'm guessing. One second. Okay, I'm running a little low on time. I'm going to have to wrap up in a minute here, but I'm going to answer a couple of more. These season changes, they kill me, you guys. All right, anyway. Sorry. Okay. Boku says, I'm sorry, my bad, says, Angie, you don't know how much you help people. God bless you. You bring me so much calm and peace and education. Thank you so much. Big hugs and love to you, my friend. You look like a very beautiful friend of mine, actually. I'm only seeing this much of your face in the picture, but your face looks very familiar to me. Okay. Ms. Kit Kat says, best way to let the kids know they have a voice when he's so difficult to deal with. It's too hard and they don't bother. I completely understand that. A little guilt that they have to deal with him. Well, I feel you on the guilt factor. The best thing I can tell you right now is I'm guessing your girls are smart like you are. And so depending on their specific emotional needs, I would say to them, what you're going to have to do with him is gray rock, and here's how you do it. And I would say, that if they feel angry at him, they should write, in their journal or text you or whatever's safe for them to do in those moments. And I would say that, to explain to them that excessive arguing and, is not beneficial. And the best thing that they can do is either, not do it, or if it's really terrible what they're asking for, if he's asking them to do something that's bad or wrong, that they should make as much noise as possible and call you as quickly as possible. But I don't think that you're worried about him physically abusing them or otherwise abusing them. So I would simply teach them that when they say nice things to daddy about daddy, daddy behaves nicely. And when they say nice things to other people about daddy that daddy can hear, daddy behaves nicely. And so if they play his game a little bit, they can deal with him, and then they can come home and lick their wounds with you and help you, and then you will help them work through the oddness that is their father. As they get older, I suspect that they will start to tell you that, I don't really want to go this weekend. And then you will have some control and they will have more control as they get older as well. And then if it becomes a real problem, you guys can go back to the court and deal with it. But I think that what'll happen is that the novelty factor will wear off for the new supply, especially if she hauls off and gets a baby of her own. But until then, I would just do your very best to support them emotionally and watch the videos that I've made about how to deal with a narcissist with them if they're old enough, and if they're not, then just explain to them on their level what they can and cannot, the best ways to deal with them from their perspective. And just really quickly, to control any narcissist, number one, put them on a pedestal, say nice things about them, and number two, don't respond to any negative behavior, only respond to positive behavior, and then you teach them to only treat you positively. But that only works for short periods of time, and it only works if you're willing to just keep doing it forever and playing this stupid game. And I am not personally willing to do that for any amount of time other than, 10 minutes at a time if necessary for things outside of my personal life, otherwise I'm out. None of that for me anymore. But that is the way to deal with it in the moment. So I hope that's a little bit helpful. How do you let them know they have a voice? You be the person that listens to them all the time. You say, I'm really sorry that you're not able to share your voice with him as much as you would like to, but please know that your voice is important and that I've got your back. I'll listen to your voice. And so will most other people in the world if you don't end up with a toxic person. And this is also a great time to remind them when it's appropriate age-wise, this is why I'm not with this person anymore, and I wanted to show you that, you don't have to stay with someone who doesn't treat you with love and respect, and that you don't have to get with anyone that doesn't treat you with love and respect. You know, you taught them a big positive lesson there, and it doesn't hurt when they're older and starting to think about, dating and stuff like that, that you don't, it doesn't hurt to remind them what they don't want, gently and without disrespecting their father. I know that's hard to do, but I know you can do it. You've got this. You've got this. All right. This is my moment where I'm stepping out of here. Ms. Danica, hello. She says, hello, Angie. Thank you for literally saving my life right now in the process of leaving my narcissist. I feel you. I feel you. Purple Belt, hello. Cheyenne, I totally understand where you're coming from. I feel you. Okay. Everybody, stay strong. 2 things. Number 1, feel free to stay here and keep chatting after the live stream ends, because I think YouTube will give you like 20 or 30 minutes where the chat can stay open. Number 2, I will come back and read the chat later. So if you have messages for me, make sure to @ Angie Atkinson me in the chat, and then I'll see them. And what else? Anything? I can't think of anything right now. But anyway, if you are interested in that coaching app that I talked about, it's a really simple, it's simple to use, but very intuitive and very awesome. I really like it a lot. And it is $25 a month. You get daily contact. You get all this awesome stuff. So activities, things chosen just for you. It's all really, really good. Anyway, if you're interested in checking that out, it's dailycoach.app. So check that out. All right, I'm wrapping up. I will see you guys soon. As always, thank you so much for being part of my SPANily. Thank you for being part of my day, part of my life. Thank you for letting me be part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. And I'll see you next time.